goes into our next question, our next song that we have here, and it is "Too Bad." Rock, give me the pronunciation on that.
Tromprince.
There you go.
Too Bad.
Too Bad by Tromprince. And this represents your journey throughout the pandemic. When the pandemic began and I threw a couple parties and that turned into Uru with my partners, Kirsten and Chris, you were the first person that I called to collaborate with. And I think, we had a couple meetings, a couple phone calls, and within a month we were doing the live streams.
Yeah.
And Sunday just became this day that I just so look forward to because it was so cool, and people around the world are waiting for this music.
Huge fan
and
base.
We're like doing countdowns on it. We're like, you're
cool.
sending the rocket, we're blasting off, and it gave a bit of purpose.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was fantastic to have that to look forward to.
It was incredible. So I just want to really thank you so much for giving that us that opportunity and all the other work that we do together.
Yeah.
But I'd like you to talk about, you really are like one of the most prolific hustlers that I met. So tell me, like, the shifts that you made to continue to innovate and find success during the pandemic when a lot of people are really struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it stems from I get bored really easily with work, to the point where, like, if I was driving to work, I would find a new route to work every day because I couldn't do the same thing over and over again. And my career after college was I was actually a commodities trader at Morgan Stanley for 4 years, and the monotony of it just it drove me almost insane. And I quit and I got into music and event production. And I guess I kind of learned that early on I wanted to be a jack of all trades and a master of all of them. Mm-hmm. And it took many years to be able to actually get to that point. But for me, it's really satisfying to have a lot of knowledge in a lot of different spheres. And luckily for that, I was able to, with the pandemic. It was kind of like, oh, thank God I did that, because like otherwise I would be struggling. But yeah, and to me it's exciting to they're all related spheres. So like the live streaming for electronic music, like throwing the events, managing venues. It's not like it's not like I'm a chef and a DJ.
Sure.
They're all kind of intertwined. So
it kind of aligns with like my theory about hustling and what I tell people. Like, for instance, at one point I wanted to be like a famous DJ. Or I had aspirations to be, a successful musician or whatever. But I knew that the odds of that happening were so small. But I was like, well, maybe I won't be a world famous DJ, but if I work for an audio company and I do events and
exactly.
I DJ and I do, my whole life is revolved around music and
Absolutely.
things that I love. So I think that if you just fill your life up with all these things that you love, you're going to have a successful and happy life, regardless if you reach that peak. And even at that peak, that may not be so great up there.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, and one of my favorite phrases when I talk about this to people is when I realized that I didn't want to be the guy, but I was happy being the guy behind the guy. Mm-hmm. And it's necessary, that's when I was like, okay, I don't want to be on center stage, but I don't want to leave behind the music scene. So there's a necessity for trustworthy business people that operate behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I basically built my reputation on that in this industry.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, even when people would constantly be like, "You're too nice to work in nightlife or music. Like you'll get destroyed," and I was like, "Watch me."
Yeah.
and whenever somebody would try to get over on me or like do something stupid, I would just say, okay, you can do that over there.
Yeah.
If you want to work with me, you're going to do it my way.
Right.
And when you don't aggressively respond to people, they're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Sure.
All right, then I'll stop trying to be an asshole and I'll work your way. And
yeah.
It's satisfying.
It reminds me, I remember being like 22 years old, 23 years old, around there, and starting to manage the production of these Toshi events in the city and just do these big things. And people that were around me were very aggressive. So I took on that persona, that part of my personality. And I realized when I started touring as a stage manager, I'm 150 pounds. Like, I'm this little skinny white dude. I'm like, I'm not, these people, I'm not intimidating anybody. I have to take a different approach. And then I started meeting people who were just at the top of the game, but so calm and collected, and you never see him sweat. And it's like, that's the guy you want to be.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Just have it together, and people tend to respect that a lot more than just yelling at them.
Definitely, yeah. That's my thing, in case you haven't noticed.